Welcome to the Pitmaster Podcast. We're barbecue competition competitors that aim to share information, advice, tips, and tall tales about our favorite pastime. Head over to thepitmasterpodcast.com for all things Pitmasters, or follow us on your favorite social media platform. And now, here are the hosts of the Pitmaster Podcast, the two-time grand champion, SCA World Champion finalist, and barbecue specialist of Smoke Ain't No Joke Barbecue, the Anthony Luan, and the 24-time grand and reserve grand champion, reserve world grand champion, Wendover High Roller champion, and the founder of Pitmaster Barbecue Supply Company stores in Utah, the old man himself from Big Johnson's Barbecue, Jesse Johnson.
This is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Show, and you are listening to the Pitmasters Podcast, and they are doing it live.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. I just said that. They're going to do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yes, live. They're going to do it live.
What's up, Pitmasters? How's it going, Jesse?
How are you doing, Mr. The Anthony Luan?
Not too bad, my man. No refunds still.
Oh, Jesus. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Nope. And the event has been rescheduled. We'll see how that goes. That's just a quick update. I just had to say that. It's very frustrating to me. I have no part of this. It's just very frustrating to seeing that the barbecue community is getting roasted right now. So,
Well, that's unfortunate.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But, well, we had a good competition this past weekend for the first anniversary for our 5 Point store in Ogden. And
yeah,
we got our newest pro team in Utah, Wild West Barbecue. Josh and Ronnie are now full-time pro cooks.
yeah. No longer allowed, only for points.
Yeah,
Only for
5XL
compete.
got an RGC, and some new teams got their first calls, and it was a fun competition. So
That is fantastic.
super fun. Yeah.
And then what do we have on the books for you for KCBS or KCBS style even?
We're gonna be the second week of September. We're gonna be doing the Northern Utah Barbecue Championships at Wasatch Front Kia in Ogden.
Sweet.
So,
And then you have about 2 days to enter Richfield SCA competition, 4 steaks, 2 days, pie. Can't remember the other ancillary. I just totally spaced it.
and then a bunch of people are getting ready they're headed up to Absaroki in Montana for this coming weekend for that competition. So all the Utah teams that are going up have been coming in and getting supplied up. So it's been kind of fun helping them.
Sweet. And then we'll see if we can poke and pry just a little bit of from Christie to see when those July dates are. I don't think she's going to tell us, but I'm still going to ask her to sign up. Yeah, I've got to sign up for her event in Vegas that's going down in November. We'll get the dates and clarification on that. And then, yeah, we have some amazing guests tonight. We have Christie Vanover and then Mike Starr from Blazing Star Barbecue. They are going to be talking a little bit about their new cooking association, Live Fire Cooking Association. Guys, go out there and get your open pits. Not recommended to do any live firing in Utah this year. The whole state might be a live fire scenario if we do that, but go get your live fire pits because it's going to be pretty sweet. And then also, since we're talking about Christie Vanover, she is in the running for the Pitmasters Podcast first Hall of Fame inductee. Make sure you head to pitmasterspodcast.com, get your votes in there. And then, yeah, she's just killing the game right now. Mike is too. He's going to these live fire meetups and pushing his brand too. So we got some sweet guests on the show tonight.
Yeah, we do really well with his brand. Both their brands in the stores. So they both sell really well. So let's bring them in.
Yeah, let's bring them.
This is the single best investment you can make to become a better cook.
Thermopen 1 is the best thermometer I've ever had.
My thermometer of choice is ThermoWorks.
When it comes to quality that I can trust, this is the company that I go to over and over again.
There may be other thermometers out there, but there aren't other Thermopens.
Welcome to the show, Mike and Christie. How's it going?
Great. Hey, guys.
Excellent. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, of course.
Nice to be here.
Christie, you have not had. Do you sleep?
It's Vegas, man. We never sleep.
Right? The town that never sleeps.
Man, you have a lot been going on. I feel like you haven't stopped since Memphis in May, pretty much, kind of.
Yeah, before that even. I mean, it's been wild, but loving every minute of the ride.
All right.
That's awesome.
Mike, you've been busy too, traveling, open fire meetups all over the place, having a good time doing that.
Blessed for the opportunities, man. This is great stuff.
You got to take advantage of them when they come, right, guys?
That's for sure, man. I tell people all the time, I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off.
All right.
Yep. Ride or die.
So you guys decided to drop some breaking news at Memphis in May with the Live Fire Cooking Association. What happened behind the scenes, and how come nobody's seen this coming?
Well, it's been coming for a while. I mean, it's the community that made it happen, honestly. Mike has been really heavy with the Open Fire Meetup, and obviously Al Frugoni behind all of this. He happens to be cooking a live fire event in London right now. Otherwise, he would have loved to have joined us. But there's this big community, international community that's behind the live fire movement, and I've been big in competition barbecue. Mike's been in competition barbecue, especially at the Memphis in May arena. And we just kind of saw that there was a need for this fusion of taking the competition style and kind of putting some foundational rules behind it, and kind of breaking the mold in some new technological ways, even though it's like a historic way of barbecuing. Mike has worked really hard to develop this judging and scoring app that is digital, which is just like I said, just like changing the ways. So the full community of whether you're a cook or you're a judge or whether you just love doing live fire on social media, we just realized that there was a community calling out there for this. And so, we decided to come together and make it happen.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, where are you playing this digital scoring? Are you buying like 92 iPads for everybody to score on? What is this going on? Did you create an app where they have to download it on their phone and use their phone to score?
So right now it's a web-based app, so it's not a downloadable app, but we are going to advance to that. We needed a proof of concept first before we go to the full-blown like downloadable app and everything. But so we developed a web-based. Well, I'll take it back to the Open Fire Meetup. After running it for a couple of years and doing everything myself and trying to calculate everything, I'm like, this has got to be done. There's got to be an easier way. Why don't we have an app? Why isn't there an app? And I did some research and saw that I think it was CBA that had an app, but they had a phone, pretty much like burner phones that they had to keep shipping to each event. We need 50 of them here. We need 100 of them here. And you could only use this type of phone, right? And I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. That's not the way to go. We need something that everybody can use. So I started outsourcing, getting bids from, the U.S., from Philippines, India, you name it, trying to figure out prices and everything else. And I was like, wow, now I know why people aren't doing it, because it's expensive to make it happen, right? Even overseas, the cost that people were sending me. Anyways, I happened to talk to one of my buddies in Vegas, and he was like, yo, I think I can help you make this happen. He's like, I'm good at doing the front end stuff, and I've got a buddy that can do the back end stuff. And I was like, hey, here's what I'm going to say. I need a friendly budget on this to make it happen. Here's a working document of what I need to do to make it happen, or how I want it to function and what have you. And bottom line, they made it happen, and we pulled it out and we're able to use it. And for me as an organizer at the event in Memphis in May, to be able to watch it go down live on my phone, I could tell like when a judge was like in a group that might be having difficulty, right? So I could run over and make sure that everything was good to go and just kind of monitor the event live. And then instantly, once the first round was over, I instantly knew the results, instantly had who was going to be in the finals. So there was no calculating, worrying about human errors or anything like that. It was nice. And then being able to publish it as soon as we make the announcement, to be able to go live, so people can share those results instantly too, was, I think a game changer too.
Mm-hmm. So my question is coming from a competitive aspect. Does this app hold I'm not saying you have to put the judge on blast, but does it hold the judge accountable? Does it going to show you their average scores? Is it going to show you anything along those lines with those
go ahead
with that live instant scoring?
Yeah. So actually kind of been taking feedback and still taking feedback as we go through this and build this process. Right. I picked a lot of the judges. Well, not a lot of them. I picked all the judges for Memphis MA for a reason. I wanted people from, the barbecue world, from the industry judging, so they could give me their feedback and what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, and stuff like that. And one of the things, the judges did want their information to be held, anonymous, right?
To be hidden, yeah.
Yeah, like out to the public and stuff like that, and which I totally get, right? On that. Now for us, I can actually go back, or any, the organizers, we can actually review the judges and see, how the judges are judging as we go. So we keep all the results, everything's archived, and the way I actually envision it as we build it, right, is being able to kind of almost have like a judge ranking system too, built into it, not just a team ranking system, but a judge system. I also envision being able to bring in other sanctioning bodies into it, and maybe even potentially have like, you select, if you're an organizer, I select LFCA, or I select SCA, or I select KCBS as the organizer, right? But then maybe we even have like a ranking system across all, sanctioning bodies and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of things that I envision like growing it, as we move forward.
And one of the things I'll say as a judge myself is it's super fast. So like the judge can sit there and the scores are basically 8, 9, or 10. And except for overall, then you have kind of a scale, just like SCA, you've got that decimal point, but you tap it immediately. But then also for adding comments, you can just type your comments on your phone. Like you don't have to fill out a bunch of paperwork like you do with the other contests. And then with KCBS, sometimes the table captains or the reps will be like, we don't really have time for comment cards. We got to keep going. But with this, you're just doing it right there, and you just hit submit. And then the comments are also obviously shared with the teams afterwards. So it's definitely expeditious. But then we also still do an audit. So even though it is all digital, after all the scores were tallied, that's when Mike and Al and I, we pulled aside, we looked at each score, made sure somebody didn't, somehow fat finger something that looked really off or something. So still put that human touch on it. But yeah, it worked really, really well.
That is awesome. Yeah, I see both aspects of being able to protect the judge. You don't want any drama at the event.
Well, you don't want any blowback coming back on the judges. I mean, understand that the organization can come in and have a conversation with the judge.
And I think that's where it needs to be.
The teams,
I think that's where it needs to be. Where there should be, I don't know, let's say 10 competitions, and if they are below average, that's when a conversation needs to be met, and they need to have a talk to, and I think it's just that's why we enjoy competition barbecue, because it can go either way any day, right? You can hit the nice table, you can hit the bad table. It's just, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like there still needs to be a bar of accountability for judges to just be like, especially in live fire, if they're coming to your spot, if they just don't like you, they score you down, and that can become a problem.
And that's what I was just going to say, from an anonymous standpoint, that can work either way. Like if they just don't like you and they score you down, like obviously that can be a thing. But also if they do like you, but they're being a fair, honest judge, you might be best friends, but they might say that you're a 9 and not a 10. And you don't want like your best friend, like, why did you give me a 10? Like,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there should be definitely accountability on the back end to where it's, I know a lot of organizations are starting to do that, but I think it just needs to be more enforced. Hey, if we continue to see this, we're going to have to ask you to recertify, or we're going to have to miss a couple competitions because you are not
Get you
on
some
par.
additional training.
Well, and I would
Exactly.
say that goes both ways. So
Yeah.
not only may you have somebody who drops 8s, but if somebody's dropping 10s to every single team,
Yep.
but
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
not like
Yes.
a consistent score, like
Yeah.
other people are seeing some flaws, then
Yeah.
maybe they need training too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
exactly.
that's stuff that when we saw it, Memphis and May, we saw and we had discussions, right? We talked about it. We're like, hey, in the future, we might need to have a conversation, with some of these people just to get them to do it, because this is all new. It's new. It's a new format. Not just the judging itself, but it's also the format. It's no longer protein against protein, right? We did a 4-course meal, for Memphis and May, and so it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge a 4-course meal that's got different proteins, different size, different desserts, different soups, all that stuff, right? So it's difficult.
Right. Yeah. And Chrissy, talk to us a little bit about that. What is the scoring system looking like? What is expected from anybody who's looking to get into this? Tell us a little bit about the cooking side of.
Yeah, this is what makes me the most excited. So first of all, there are 2 styles of contests that an organizer can hold, either a live fire competition or an open fire competition. So quick definition, with both, the fire has to be live on its own. That means no electric, no pellet grills, no gas grills. It all has to be alive by itself. No fans like blowing it, it's all live fire. Then the difference between the live fire and the open fire is also no lids. So with a live fire, you could have a Weber kettle, which is run by charcoal or wood, and you put your lid on it. With open fire, you can still use a Weber kettle, but you can't put a lid on it. So it's completely open. So an organizer can choose to do one or the other, or they could even do both. And then as far as what the entries are, for the most part, a regular competition, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but would basically be like an entree and sides. So like a starch and a vegetable plus an entree. There could be the ancillaries, just like we have in every other competition. That's where you add the dessert or the soup or whatever you want to add.
Appetizer, whatever.
Yeah. And then from there, the judging is basically you're judged on presentation, which is your oral presentation, because it's not blind judging. In this sense, you're actually telling the story of your food. So you're judged on that side of the presentation, and then you're judged on the appearance, which is how your food actually looks. You're judged on your technique, like what kind of live fire, open fire technique did you use? The flavor, that's king, that's your taste. And then overall impression is kind of all of it combined. And then everything's weighted just like it is in other sanctioning bodies. And then basically there are heats. So that's one thing that makes it a little bit different, is that let's say you have a team of, a competition with 12 teams, then you may have 2 groups of 6 or 3 groups of 4. And then you'll have a final round. So the winners of each of those heats will then advance to the final round, and then they will cook the exact same dish or just serve the same dish again, present it again to a different round of judges, and then that's how the winner's selected.
Perfect. And then so with people that aren't familiar with live judging, can you go over a little bit about that? Is there blocks of your turn-in windows? Explain that a little bit on people who haven't never experienced that type of judging before.
Yeah, Mike, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah, sure. So we would, before the event would start, right, you would actually get put into your groups. And so that would kind of happen like at the beginning. Like if you have your team meeting for a competition, that's when the groups would be announced. And at that groups be announced, if you're team 1 or team 2 or team 3 or say team 4, let's give an example of 12 team competition that has 3 groups of 4. Team 1, let's say judging starts at 2:00 in the afternoon, right? So 2:00, if you're team 1, 2:00 would be the first team, right? And if we were just doing a standard competition, not Memphis and May World Championship, where it's just an entree with 2 sides, it would be a 10-minute presentation, right? And that 10-minute presentation, you would do it. So if you're team 1, you're going to start at 2:00, right? All team 1s, right? So if you're in group 1, group 2, group 3, team 1, you're getting judged at 2:00. The next next team would have to be ready, let's say 210 to 215 in that window, basically, to have the next those judges move from team 1 to team 2, and then so on. So it would be increments like that. So you wouldn't be a stagger start, but it would be a stagger like turn in
Presentation.
Yes.
Stagger presentation.
And one of the really cool things about the app, and it takes the human element out of it, is the app decides what group you're in, completely randomizes who's in what group. And then it also randomizes what judges are grouped together and which kind of groups that they go to. So everything takes all the human element out of it.
Yeah.
So
as an organizer.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, as an organizer of an event, right, when we give you the organizer event, obviously initially as we start building this, we'll probably help the organizers obviously set up the events, but in future the organizer would have the rights. They would go in, they would load the team names in, they would load the judges, they would put in, based on our criteria, like this is how many groups you would have with this many teams, this is what it would do. They would put those teams in, they would put the judges in, and they would hit submit. And when they hit the submit, it automatically randomly puts those teams into those groups and then automatically assigns those judges to those groups randomly at that point.
So how many judges are going to the groups, and what's the criteria for the judging?
So it's three
judges.
3 judges per group, right? And so those 3 judges will judge every team in that group is the way it'll work. Once again, it's a weighted score. So they're looking at the presentation of the actual oral presentation, but technically it's also like, everything about the presentation, right?
Appearance and
the appearance is separate.
Communicating. Okay.
Yeah, like, just kind of like professionalism, all that stuff, right? You're taking in consideration. And then, of course, appearance is the dish. Technique is one that is a little different, and I think some people struggled with when we were talking to them afterwards, getting feedback and stuff like that. Technique is, think about not just doneness, tenderness, that type of stuff, but also think about the technique, right? Cooking live fire or cooking open fire have differences, right? So you're going to get different results on how you cook things, whether it be live fire or open fire, right? Give you an example, beef ribs or something like that, right? Beef ribs that you cook on an offset smoker versus cooking on an open fire grill are going to have a different texture, going to have a different, tenderness, feel to it. So you take in consideration all those things. You take in, when they're giving you the presentation, they should be selling their technique, right, to you. So you take that in consideration when you're judging them on technique. The first 2, presentation and appearance, are 15%. Technique is 20%. Flavor, like I said, like Christie said, is king. It's 30%. And then the overall impression, it's a slide rule that comes across. So the first 4, you can only give them an 8, a 9, or a 10. We talk about 10 being championship quality, right? 9 being great, but just not quite championship quality, right? And then 8 is good or anything worse, right? And then with that overall impression, it's to a 2 decimal point. So this is where you can really, if you gave them all 9s, this is where you can decide whether this was an 8.75 or a 9.4, a 9, you know what I mean? Or if you gave them all 10s, maybe it was a 9.75, right? You gave them a 10 because it was pretty dang close, but it wasn't quite a perfect 10. Or, you can give them a straight 10 across the board or what have you.
One thing that we did see with the overall impression, at least is what I observed, is that's kind of where, like, I'll be honest, the judges were blown away with the quality of cooks at Memphis in May. They were just phenomenal. But occasionally, all of the dishes would be great, but one of the dishes may have had a little bit of a flaw to it. Like the dessert was too sweet or not sweet enough, or something was maybe a little bit salty. But overall, other things they felt like they were worthy of a 10 because they were that great. But if they were looking for a place where they needed to just dock them a little bit because maybe that dessert was just off a bit, the overall impression would be where they would kind of slide down. And it's interesting to see that as a cook, because SCA, I always struggled. I'm like, how can I get like great 50s and then you get like a 49 overall? Like, I don't understand. And I feel like that's where this overall that could happen, as you get a little bit lower. Everything was phenomenal, but they just need that little spot to say it wasn't perfect. It was, here's where the flaw lied.
So the organizer gets with you guys and decides where they're going to do. Okay, they're always going to do an entree, obviously, and then are they going to do an appetizer? Are they going to do one side, two sides, or a dessert? So that's that. The organizer works that out with you guys, right?
Yeah. So with our rules, we've got it set up right now to where the concept would be entree and two sides with one vegetable, one starch. So that's like the standard, like the 4 meeting KCBS. That's your standard.
Yep.
But then from there, yes, the organizer can say, you know what, I want to throw in the ancillaries.
And then the teams get to decide what those proteins, starches, and vegetables are going to be.
That's correct.
That's my favorite part of this. That's what I love about it. Creativity.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard for some of those on a live fire, depending on it's open fire or live fire, how much time you have to cook that certain protein. They're going to have to be very, choose wisely.
Sure.
Yeah. And the I think initially with the competitions, we're going to want to keep it, shorter initially, right? On the time frames, because we want it to be a competition that they can go out no different than an SCA or a rib cook-off association and go out there and knock out in an afternoon, right?
Just do a one-day competition. Yeah.
Right. Now on the bigger stages, on some of the events, obviously Memphis and May, then we're looking to, kind of extend that clock, right? To give them, more flexibility to be able to do whatever the heck they want to do. If they want to do a whole cow, they can do a whole cow, right? And yeah, we'll see where it goes. We've also got some future plans with some different stuff with that too. So,
and then as for judges, are you guys going to have do you have to become a certified judge, or are you guys going to be pulling in people? What's the plan on that?
You have to be a member. So we are working to open up the membership, which I've just been hitting snags on the financial side of connecting bank accounts. Otherwise it would be live. I'm getting so close, but it's just getting the roadblocks. But yes, there will be a membership. There's a team membership, and then there's a judge/organizer membership. So if you want to judge, you would apply to be a judge. You'd become a member to be a judge. And then really it's going to be similar to KCBS and SCA. It's up to the organizers to decide who they want to be their judges for the event. And it is going to be a little bit more coveted because there's not as many judges needed for an LFCA event. And then one more thing about membership that is a little bit different is we actually also have a content creator membership. So you probably know with the Open Fire Meetup that is one of the huge components of live fire is we have this huge social media crowd that just loves the live fire, but maybe they're not competitors. So we'll have that membership as well, which will get you, some access into some of the events that we do that are live fire related and get you media passes to events and things along those lines. So our big next Open Fire Meetup in Hondo, the tickets actually just went on sale today. That's in Texas. So we've got our teams who are registering and doing all that stuff. But from a public standpoint, it sold out last year. So definitely if you want to come down to Texas and see it all, it's freaking phenomenal. But yeah, just go to openfiremeetup.com and you can get those tickets now.
Yeah.
Sweet. So when is your first projected date on this competition world really going to happen, and where?
Yeah,
I'm willing to bet it's Vegas.
Well, for sure it's going to be Vegas. So I'm already, and that's one of the things that I'm holding off on. I haven't released the July registration date yet, as I'm just figuring out the parking lot because I obviously want to make room for the live fire teams as well. But we are probably moving to a bigger lot, so I could still have 100 or so KCBS teams plus the live fire team. So yes, November. Yeah, November. But it's possible. I know Mike's been in talks with some other folks. It's possible that there may be something coming sooner, but we've also been in talks with folks for stuff coming in early 2027 as well. So
yeah, so we're gonna, as soon as we're able to lock down this membership stuff that we're hanging up on, once that's done, we're going to start really trying to promote it and start pushing it, right? Because ideally we want to see, and I think we're going to see it, right? I think we're going to see people. We've been approached overseas and in the States. There are just people waiting for us to say go and go live, right? And then once that happens, we're hoping to. I won't be surprised if we're not able to have a half a dozen events between now and November. Potentially this year, and then hopefully, obviously, as we move forward, that just I think especially a lot of people right now are only thinking, and we're gonna. Christie touched on it. They're only thinking live fire, which we're actually defining open fire versus live fire, right? Because we want, and this is something that me and Al talked about years ago. Like, we need to make sure that we're trying to include everybody. We want, because this is a step. I mean, people. It's no different than the guys and gals that are getting into barbecue from a pellet smoker, right? Aspect. We don't want to stop anybody, right? Because we want to grow it. We want to continue to grow what we're doing, right? And so with the open fire versus the live fire, we think that we're going to get a lot of live fire, which are people with offset smokers, drum smokers, the traditional barbecue competition guys and gals that are going to want to jump in this and get their feet wet with it, right? And then, maybe they also, that's their kind of get in doing it that style, live fire, and then maybe even cross over and do some open fire and stuff like that. I think the goal would be at Memphis in May to actually see live fire, open fire, and have a grand championship, there where live fire competes against open fire also. So that's just
so here's a question for you. If there's no electronics as far as fans or computers or anything like that, but can you use a mechanical piece to rotate your meat on
rotisserie?
Your open
Yes,
fire?
you can. Yep, you can.
Okay.
And you're allowed to have like blenders and stuff like that in your site. You just can't have a cooker that is assisted,
is managed by a computer.
It has to be a live fire, right? A true live fire that's not assisted.
See, and a lot of the KCBS cooks are going to be already set up because most of the teams are running some type of drum right now,
for sure,
and some offsets. So there's people don't have to go out and buy a new cooker to do this.
Right.
No. If anything, they might bring a Weber kettle, add a Weber kettle or something like that to be able to help work on a side or something like that.
Yeah, because an open fire is going to be a little different story. Where you run
a
drum, you can still run a drum for an open fire. You just can't close the lid.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really cool about this, again, being on the organizer side of things, and too, Jesse, from organizing, one of the challenges with getting sponsors is with, especially KCBS, maybe not SCA as much, but the teams are so sheltered in their tents or in their trailers. And so to try to get the public out to see it all, the public doesn't get that engagement with the cooks. And therefore the sponsors are why should we sponsor? Where's the ROI? We want to have that public interaction. You pull out an open fire pit and you put a whole lamb on a cross. And I tell you what, the public is there and the brands are there because they're okay, now we've got this interaction. Because we added the open fire, just a barbecue pit stop at our, at the barbecue jackpot last year, and Mike was out there, and Al and Duraflame and others, and they were all cooking over open fire, and the crowd just loved it. And
brings the people in.
Yeah, and that's what we did at Memphis in May too. And it was just the sponsors had so much fun just talking to the people, and then it gets people excited about barbecue again. It gets them talking, and
and that's also bringing in the creators, right, to it, because ultimately we think, right, this is the way we envision it. We think we can bring in a lot more sponsors, which ultimately will bring in more money for the competition and the competitors on top of it, right? Kind of make it, don't want to use the term food sport, but, kind of, kind of bring that public in there. So when you bring the public in, that brings the sponsors in, right? Because they can sell stuff. right?
That's the biggest problem with KCBS and SCA is getting the public involved, because people show up to a barbecue competition, they're like, I want to try all the barbecue. Well,
Yeah.
For sure.
you can't unless you're doing a people's choice. So
Mhm.
how is the live fire going to be? It's going to be, yeah, they can see it more, but is there any way to get the public involved on trying the products?
Yeah, so there's two ways that we've found to be successful. One is a people's choice category, which is what we do at the Open Fire Meetup, and then two is the sponsor serving samples. So, or you have other teams out there who are doing, mainly it's been sponsors, but they're out there doing live fire as well. Like we had Brio, we had Yoder, we had Melinda's cooking over live fire. They're the ones talking to the crowds while the teams are doing their own thing, and the public can see the teams, but then they get to engage with the sponsors, which is great for the sponsors because then they can also do all of their pitch and tell them why their products are best. And so having them actually kind of carry the load of doing the service and stuff, but it's a win-win. It's not really a load. It's a win-win because they get that interaction.
Well, and that's kind of like the feeding process, right? When I say that, this, I don't want to keep beating it up, but like having the creators come in with the sponsors. Now these creators are cooking with the brand sponsors, creating content, both for themselves, for the brand sponsors, and at the same time frame feeding the crowd. So it just creates so many like opportunities to win from it for everybody. And then meanwhile, it's a show too, right? Because now the people can get to see the competition kind of go down like live, right? But at the same time frame, they have these sidebar things happening, that's kind of entertaining them too. So,
And then as for reps, I know somebody personally in my house that would probably love to rep something like this. Not me. And you guys know what I'm talking about. She'd be an amazing one as well.
The boss.
But the boss, yeah, nothing would slide past that one. But
we definitely will be recruiting reps for sure. Just like SCA went through a process before, Ken and Brett passed the torch. We will definitely be doing the same thing.
Sweet. And then there's going to be like a rep class, and then you're going to have X amount of reps per region just to kind of cover those events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then we'll continue to go, at least one of us will continue to go to contests for a while until it all gets off the ground. And right now, for anybody who wants to organize a contest, you can already go to livefirecookingassociation.com. You can click on organizers, and there's a sanctioning form there that you can fill out. And there's no money up front or anything like that. You just fill it out and at least express your interest. So as we start getting these queries, we can put them on the calendar and kind of start working. And we're really going to handhold from the beginning. We really want everything to launch successfully. So you're not out there on your own trying to figure this out. We're with you every step of the way because we want it to be successful, obviously, as much as we want the organizers to be successful.
Jesse, Jesse, wink, wink. Jesse, wink, wink.
You're telling me to bring in a contest in Utah?
Yeah,
let's do it.
I have somebody who's probably willing to rep it for you.
I highly recommend to anybody interested in it, go to livefirecookingassociation.com because Christie's done an amazing job, especially with the FAQs. The FAQs in there are tremendous. Like they have everything you can think of, all the information you could ever want to do with this sanctioning body, live fire cooking, open fire cooking. A lot of information there, and Christie's done an amazing job there. So definitely check it out, and you can learn a lot. Heck, I learned a lot just by going to it.
I just took everything in Mike's brain and Al's brain and my brain and just threw it on a website.
That is awesome. Yeah, and it looks like it's up and running. Member login. So let's talk a little bit about entry fees. What is it going to look like from the cook's aspect to be able to enter these events?
Yeah, let me look at what we had on here because I can't remember what we decided. I think, okay, let's see. We have right now, and this is a recommendation. Obviously, every organizer will have the flexibility to do what they want, but starting at $250 per contest, that's going to depend on, like I said, location and organizer, but also on category. So that's just for your basic entry. And, obviously that is to help the organizer cover the costs of their event. And with these events, we don't anticipate you're going to see like 100 teams cooking. Also, like to be a contest, you have to have at least 10 teams for it to even have one. and then so from there, if a rep is only collecting 250 times 10, we got to make sure that they can break even to at least have that contest.
For sure.
So that's the starting point. And of course, you bring your own equipment, you bring your own grills, you bring your own proteins.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, and as an organizer, you're not going to have to really provide power. Like that's a big thing in the KCBS, but
yeah. I mean, you can if you want, so that they can have lights and fans. But honestly, I don't provide power for my own KCBS. But yeah, it's definitely not a thing that's expected of an organizer. So really, it's really providing the locations, and then of course there's some organizer fees, just like any sanctioning body, and then having your rep and stuff. But that's not overly crazy either. And then recommendations for trophies amount, or prize purse amounts, but that's completely flexible too, because we know that sometimes organizers will get a ton of sponsors, and maybe they can offer a $10,000 prize purse, or maybe you're doing a smaller amount. Now, the only other thing though that is more affordable is that you're just paying basically to like third place. So it's not like you've got 4 categories to 10 places plus overall to 10 places. So that makes it more affordable for an organizer as well.
Yeah, and we set it for 10. We thought about setting it at 15, but we really wanted to encourage people, organizers, to be able to get these events off the ground and running. I mean, we do anticipate hopefully changing that to 15, as a minimum down the road. But initially we've set it to 10 because we want to do it. And once again, those will be a qualifier for the World Championship.
That was my next question. So if they win if they win a contest, get a grand championship, what's the next step?
Yep. So they get the way we've got it set up. Our yearly calendar will basically go from, let's say, November 1st to October 31st every year, unless the Open Fire meetup has to shift a date. So what I mean by that, the Open Fire meetup at Hondo, Texas, will always be our finale every year. It'll be our finale event that we do every year.
So that'll be where the champions go?
No, that'll be just the last event. So right now, as we speak, knock on wood, as long as we continue our partnership with Memphis in May, the World Championship will be held at Memphis in May.
Nice.
So we will be working on that. The details, as Memphis in May next year will be the 50th anniversary of Memphis in May. So we're looking to do it, bigger.
Right.
For Memphis in May next year. So we have to work on those details and set up a longer term contract, with Memphis in May moving forward. But yes, the way we envision it is the Open Fire meetup at Hondo will always be the final qualifier, right? For the championship. That's also where we'll announce, we'll be able to, because of the app and everything else, we'll be able to calculate all that. So we'll do end of year awards.
Yeah, team of the year.
Team of the year, stuff like that. Will be held at Hondo. Open Fire meetup.
Right. Heck yeah. Well, cool. This sounds amazing. I can't wait to see how to get involved in it. But let's shift gears just a little bit. Christie is becoming an up and rising celebrity. She is not just everywhere in the barbecue.
She's got her smoky little hands and everything right now.
Yeah, but let's talk about this Food Network deal. What do we got going on here for people that have not heard?
Yeah, so it's been a pretty cool summer. I gotta say, it's not even summer yet. It's been a pretty cool spring, I guess, for barbecue on Food Network. I mean, we've got Chopped Castaways, which many of our friends are on. We've got Barbecue Brawl, obviously, I can't even remember. I was on season 4. I think they're at season 7 now, if I'm not mistaken. And we just finished filming another show, and they just announced it so I can share it. But it's called Pitmasters. And it's going to be like no other barbecue show that you've seen on Food Network before. I can't say a lot. I am a contestant on the show. They have announced the judges, which are Andrew Zimmern, Ernest from Burnt Bean, Jess Pryles, and Big Mo Kaysen. Big
Mo. I saw that.
Yes. So those are the judges. Beyond that, there's not a lot I can say other than it does premiere July 13th at 9 o'clock on Food Network. But I'm gonna turn the tables. What would you hope to see out of a barbecue show that you haven't seen before?
So the name's Pitmasters, right?
Yes.
I love that name.
Yeah, it's weird. It's something weird about that name.
Something weird, huh?
It's like you already have a podcast for it.
Right.
Podcast, stores, whatever it takes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. With something like that, it can go from a campfire all the way to a Lang type smoker. I would love to see contestants being able to show what their real talents are, being able to for fire management, protein management, and also producing quality food with quality ingredients. Hope the pantry is not limited, which Barbecue Brawl, I felt like it was a very limited pantry from watching that show. I feel like it should be more.
Well, and the time frames that they gave them were
tight frames.
I thought the time frames were just like,
but
like, how are you going to pull that stuff off?
But I also like to see the fatigue. I like seeing you fight.
You're gonna love this show.
All right. I really like to see people. I like to see people know what it's like to roll into a competition at 5 o'clock in the afternoon after working a long day, manning a fire, trimming meat, staying up all night, cooking it and turning it in, and you don't even care about awards at that point because you're so tired. That's what I want to see in a real pitmaster style show.
Yeah.
So
the fatigue. You want to see everybody fatigued.
well, I think social media has made barbecue to be like, hey, I can do this in my backyard. Ta-da, it's done. There's a lot of fatigue that goes into actual real barbecue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you just scripted the show, Anthony.
Perfect. All right.
So yes, you will see a variety of fire management. You will see a deep pantry. However, just like all shows, it varies on the challenge. Definitely they throw challenges. You will see fatigue. I can promise you that.
It's always interesting to see what type of cookers they provide to have people cook on too. That's because a pitmaster needs to be
don't
provide, huh?
Yeah.
That's the thing is like people, if you're a real pitmaster, you can cook on anything.
For sure.
I mean, and I tell that to people in the store all the time. I said, you can have, because they always come in, I just bought a new smoker. Well, you didn't buy it for me, but let me help you learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Well,
because I can make better barbecue than most people. I can just give me a garbage can and I'll be able to make better barbecue than most people.
Yeah. And this is one thing that. Oh yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. No, sorry.
No,
go ahead. I started tracking. My mind started tracking. This is one thing that I do not like about cooking shows. And it's the elimination. What had me hooked on the very first barbecue show, the barbecue pitmasters, was following a trail of these guys competing in, week out, and keeping a tally on who actually was the real thing. I hate elimination shows because, say, like Christie goes in there, gets worked. She had a bad cook, and they're like, okay, Christie, thanks for coming.
You're out.
Move on.
See ya.
But I know Christie could have just had a bad cook. I know she's an amazing cook. So I feel like
got stuck with something.
Exactly, got stuck with something. So I feel like it should be in a show of X amount of weeks, and then a total build up, and then they show a winner. That's how I feel. But I'm pretty sure, obviously, that's been filmed. We can't talk about it, but that's what I like to see is just the different style of cooking, how some people can excel and how some people can fail, and the elimination. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather just have a point system where the end result is, hey, Christie's down by 100 points, but she can still take the top spot. She has an amazing cook.
Comeback.
Yeah, the comeback. Right. So but
no, everybody loves a good comeback story.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Christie hasn't said anything, so maybe we're on to something, folks.
She's got everything held close to her chest.
Yeah.
I've said what I'm allowed to say.
The thing is she didn't say I agree. So this is what I'm kind of like, well, okay.
She signed a healthy NDA on this one.
She did.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I get it.
But I honestly, I think you're gonna love it. I think your listeners are gonna love it. July 13th. It's like right around the corner. Like they just let us know. We saw that post that Ernest did, or and Jess and Andrew and others were posting. We're like, oh, it's out. Okay, let's go.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Realistically, we're a month away, right?
And
it's going to be dropping. So
isn't that crazy? Time is flying this year.
Right. And then more updates on Christie. Her pastrami kit is out, working through Patio Provisions. Go ahead and get your orders in with all your local barbecue supply stores. You can get all that. I had a show right before you, a hot take show, and Rob busted out your pastrami kit.
Oh, he did? I missed it.
He threw it in Scott Nardi's face. It was kind of funny. So it was awesome.
I have to go back and watch
that.
Is
awesome.
We've got it on the shelves, but I have yet to try it. So I'm going to have to break it out, put a brisket in the works for 5 to 7 days, and do some samples at the stores.
Love it.
I've been waiting for my schedule to slow down just so I can do it.
So let's switch it over to Mike. Christie's so dang busy. We can talk to her for
hold on. I want to know what Mike is drinking in his Glencairn glass.
So I'm actually drinking on a store pick of Buffalo Trace is what it is. I just did a store pick of at my local bourbon store.
Very nice.
So
Yeah. So what's new with you, Mike? You're always shaking it up a little bit with your rubs and seasonings, and you've been doing a lot of that with it. Is there anything new in the pipeline for you? We got to get a new rub? Anything soon like that?
No new rub right now, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to, right?
Well, tell everybody your brand, so people that are new to this. What's your brand and what's your flavor? What do you have out there right now?
Yeah, so I'm Mike Blazing Star BBQ. So I've got 5 seasonings, 3 sauces. Everything's kind of more multicultural, with some bold global flavors, with a little bit of heat, right? I tell everybody, some of the names might scare you, but as I go up in heat, I go up in flavor. I'm originally from North Carolina. Nothing's regional style. It's not North Carolina, not Texas, not Kansas City, Memphis. I was in the Air Force for 21 years, traveled all over the world, and got to experience a lot of unique cultures and unique foods. And now I'm trying to bring those unique flavors from my world travels to your backyard. That's pretty much my spiel.
We sell a lot of that. We sell a lot of that Reaper, baby.
Yeah, the Reaper it's been my number one seller. It's funny because when I released the Reaper rub, no one would buy it. Right? They were scared of the name.
Scared.
And and then eventually, boom, it hit. On social media, and then next thing you know, it hasn't slowed down. It's definitely my number one seller. The pork and rub is our crowd pleaser. It's a milder version, realistically, of the Reaper rub. We have 2 sugar-free seasonings, an all-in-one and beef rub. We're actually changing the name of our beef rub and our pork and rub here soon, just because they're pigeonholed. So we're changing our beef rub to SPG Fusion, which is basically a salt, pepper, garlic with bold global flavors. And then our pork and rub, we're changing it back to house rub. That's actually what I used to call it when I used to make it at home before I started making videos and everything else. So we're changing it back to house rub and calling it the ultimate crowd pleaser. And then our sauces, we have an original and spicy sauce. I tell people it's kind of our original sauce is a little bit of sweet, a little bit of twang, a little bit of smoky, but natural smoke, and with a little kick. And then our spicy sauce, it's spicy, right? It's actually probably the spiciest product that we have, but it's packed full of flavor. And then our Asian Bang is probably our most unique product that we sell. It's a tour of Asia from Korea to the Philippines, ending in a bang. And that's our products. As far as me, I'm traveling around the country constantly. I just came back from Baltimore. Did an event out there. I'm heading to Sonoma, California this weekend, and then I'll be in Texas for 2 weeks with TFTI and Frugoni. Vacation/business. Just trying to get the brand out there. Our products are now nationwide. In Home Depot, we have 3 seasonings in Home Depot. We're in Bass Pro, Cabela's, Shields, Rural King, and a lot of mom and pops across the country. So blessed for the opportunities.
So is the sauces available through? Is the sauces available through Old World?
Yes, the sauces are available through Old World. They're also available through Delano Distributions.
Oh, Delano's got them too.
Yeah, Delano
Yeah,
has them too.
a lot of people are switching to Delano.
Yeah, so they're both available there. Yeah, Scorpion Rub, Anthony. I have to agree with you. That's the one I like. If for me, when I'm reaching for myself, that's the one I use. It's just
It's awesome.
It's got the heat and it's got a lot of intense flavors
Mhm.
to it, also. So,
Yep. Heck yeah. Well, sweet. We've covered a lot.
Give
We've covered
Christie
a
the
lot.
time to talk about her product.
oh yeah, she's got a lot of amazing products too. Not just that brisket. I mean the pastrami kit.
Pastrami, but
I feel
gotta
like she has. I feel like her products in every home in America. Hers is Susie Bullock for some strange reason. I feel like those two have cornered the market in the backyard world. It's crazy.
Sell a lot of her pork and brisket
Right.
rubs. Boy, we're going through
That's great. Yeah. So I have brisket, pork, and chicken. Brisket is my number one seller. SPG with a little bit of guajillo to it. Really coarse to give you good bark. Pork has that kind of sweetness to it, and then my chicken rub is really good on vegetables too, and that's got the more herbaceous. And then of course the pastrami kit, for those who don't know, is your brine and your rub and your bag, so you can make pastrami out of anything. And then I've got 2 cookbooks. I've got my holiday grilling, which covers Christmas to Valentine's Day to New Year's, all sorts of stuff, and then a cookbook that I wrote specifically for the Ninja Flex Flame, which is a gas grill that also has pellet smoke, and that's called Ignited Q. And then, of course, girlscangrill.com. All my recipes there are free, and all the socials at Girls Can Grill.
Heck yeah. Sweet. And then, all I got to say is if you don't follow these two, you need to, because they both have an amazing content. And then also make sure you follow Christie heavily on Thursday and Friday. That's all I got to say. She will be in an amazing event. It's
I will.
Fantastic. So
this week.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Thursday or Friday, got to pay attention, guys.
Keep an eye on her social media for sure. So
I'm excited to see what I'm going to discover.
Yeah. Some of your shorts are just absolutely hilarious, Christie. So I appreciate you doing all your content. I just get a big kick out of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. We will actually want to have you back on when we get a little closer to some more events,
competitions,
competitions like that. So we look forward to talking to you, and Christie, I'll be talking to you later, and then we'll also be tuning in. We finally locked down some tastings too. So for those people who like to hear the tastings shows, we got some more coming back at you as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those.
Yep. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much. Make sure you follow the Pitmasters podcast on all social media. Pitmaster Supply Company on social medias. Me, Smoke Ain't No Joke. And then make sure you always hit that like and subscribe button as well. So
please do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All righty, guys. You guys have a good night.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah. Yep. Bye-bye.